Imagine waking up one day and realizing your future has been sealed by the hands of others. You were not asked. You were not given a choice. As a boy, you were taken from your home, perhaps sold because your family was too poor to keep you, or perhaps seized as part of a conqueror's prize. That single act, one you could not stop, would change the very course of your life. You are now destined to become a eunuch, a figure both feared and respected, living within the deepest shadows of palaces and courts. This is not simply a job. This is your entire identity, reshaped to serve those in power. The first memory you carry is confusion. Why you? Why this? The operation is explained to you only after it is done, a painful and irreversible moment. You are told that this will secure your place in the service of kings, queens, and emperors. You are told that your body's sacrifice makes you valuable, because now you have no heirs, no ambition outside of your master's will, no bloodline to betray. Your family, your future, all of it has been traded for your role. And in return, you step into the world of palaces, a place that seems like another planet compared to the dirt roads of your childhood. From the moment you arrive, your training begins. You are not free. Every hour is accounted for. You wake before dawn. You clean, you carry, you run errands. You learn how to bow at the correct angle, how to speak with humility, and when to remain silent. Your clothing is plain, yet distinct, marking you forever as someone different. You cannot blend into the crowd. You belong to a separate order, a brotherhood of sacrifice. Men like you live in service but are never truly free. At first you are given menial tasks, sweeping the halls, carrying food to noble chambers, standing guard in places where others cannot be trusted. But slowly your role grows. Slowly you move closer to power. The palace itself is overwhelming. Its marble floors, endless corridors, and golden doors speak of wealth beyond anything you had ever imagined. It smells of incense and spices, echoing with the footsteps of servants, guards, ministers, and courtiers. You see kings stride past in silk robes, queens wrapped in jewels, foreign ambassadors bowing deeply. And always you are in the background, silent, watching, learning. While others are allowed to drift in and out of these chambers, you are here permanently. This is not a visit. This is your life. Your loyalty is your greatest weapon. Unlike noblemen who have families or generals with ambitions, you have no outside ties. There is no son to inherit from you, no wife to pull you away, no bloodline to protect. This is exactly why rulers trust you. You are bound to them alone, your future tied only to their fortunes. And so, step by step, you climb higher. You are given access to the ruler's chambers. You carry secret messages. You handle gold and treasures. You learn how to keep confidences, and you quickly realize that secrets are more valuable than armies. One of your primary duties soon becomes the harem. Behind heavy doors lies a world almost no outsider ever sees, a world filled with the wives, concubines, and daughters of kings. You are their guard, their protector, their messenger. The harem is not just a place of pleasure. It is a political institution, a world of whispers, alliances, and rivalries. Women here wield influence, sometimes more than generals, and you are their gatekeeper. Every laugh, every tear, every forbidden glance is seen by your eyes. You deliver letters, you carry gifts, you hear secrets exchanged in hushed tones. But you must never betray trust. One careless word, one slip of the tongue, and your head could roll. Yet within this world, you also feel the weight of what has been taken from you. Desire is forbidden. Family is impossible. You stand surrounded by beauty and intimacy, but you are cut off forever. Some days, the loneliness is unbearable. You are present in lives that are full of love, intrigue, and passion, but you remain an observer, never a participant. This paradox becomes your greatest burden. Close to power, yet forever denied the simplest human joys. And still, you wield influence others can only dream of. Kings turn to you for advice because you know more than most advisors. Queens rely on you because you can move unseen. Ministers fear you because you know their scandals and weaknesses. Eunuchs, often underestimated, sometimes became the most powerful figures in an empire. In China, they rose to control entire dynasties, even ruling from behind the throne. In Byzantium, They commanded armies and managed the empire's treasure. In the Ottoman court, black eunuchs held the keys to the harem and had the ear of the sultan himself. Though mocked by nobles, they still had to bow before you, because without you, their access to power was blocked. But this influence came with danger. For every ruler who trusted you, there was a rival who despised you. Soldiers hated you because you wielded power without lifting a sword. Nobles resented you because you had the ear of the king without the burden of lineage. Plots against eunuchs were common. Some were poisoned. Some were executed. Others disappeared without explanation. You lived knowing your survival depended on balancing loyalty, intelligence, and silence. The sacrifices you made were immense. Though you could rise to wealth, even becoming richer than generals, your life remained incomplete. You dined at the ruler's table but ate alone. You held influence but never love. You saw everything, yet could never truly live in it. And perhaps this is why history remembers eunuchs not only as powerful figures, but as tragic ones, men who gave up their humanity to become tools of empires. Every day, you were reminded of the cost. A soldier might have scars from battle, but your scars were of identity, of self. Yet you carried on, because what else was there? For many eunuchs, ambition replaced longing. They found satisfaction in wealth, in rank, in being feared and respected. You too learned to play this game. You learned that survival meant turning your pain into power, your silence into strength. In the grand halls of Byzantium, eunuchs commanded armies. In China's Forbidden City, they whispered into the emperor's ear and shaped the fate of kingdoms. In Ottoman Istanbul, they patrolled the harem, keeping the heart of the empire under lock and key. And so, though denied children, eunuchs became the fathers of dynasties in another way. Their decisions shaped the future of entire nations. Still, as night fell in the palace and you lay on your bed of silk sheets, the weight of your solitude pressed heavily on you. You remember the boy you once were, running through dusty streets, never imagining such a future. You remembered family faces blurred by time, and you wondered if, in giving everything to your ruler, you had lost yourself completely. Your life as a eunuch is both privilege and curse, filled with riches and yet void of the simplest joys. You are a symbol of loyalty, of service, of sacrifice. You stand at the center of power, yet forever on the outside of humanity. And while the court celebrates victories, crowns kings, and builds monuments, you live as a shadow, essential, trusted, but eternally incomplete. Still, the story does not end here. Beyond the palace gates lies another world, one where laughter fills the air and music echoes off stone walls. For while you stand in silence, others revel in joy, feasting and celebrating. Step beyond the palace chambers where secrets and whispers decide the fate of kingdoms, and enter the echoing great halls of castles where laughter, song, and spectacle fill the air. Here, power was not only displayed through armies or riches, but through the ability to entertain and dazzle. To live inside a medieval castle was to witness a life that blended harsh stone walls with bursts of color, music, and endless performances designed to impress both noble guests and foreign envoys. Entertainment was never just for pleasure. It was an instrument of authority, reminding everyone who entered that the lord or king who ruled here was not only strong, but cultured and generous. The first thing that strikes you in this world is the feast. Long wooden tables stretch the length of the hall, covered with food so extravagant it looks like a painting come alive. A roasted boar with apples in its mouth, pies stuffed with spiced meats, sugar fruits, and bread stacked high are set out for nobles and guests. Wine flows endlessly into goblets, while servants rush to keep the platters filled. Eating in itself becomes a spectacle, for it is not simply about feeding the body, but about displaying wealth. Only a truly powerful lord could summon such abundance, and every bite taken in public reinforces their strength. As the feast goes on, music fills the room. Minstrels pluck lutes, harpists weave delicate tunes, and the deep beat of drums echoes off the walls. The air becomes alive with rhythm, and the hall transforms into a theater of sound. Dancing follows, but it is never merely for enjoyment. Every step is a performance of status. Nobles circle gracefully, showing off their breeding and manners, while alliances are hinted at through gestures and share partners. A glance across the floor might suggest interest in marriage, while a misstep could hint at clumsiness unfit for the higher ranks. Dance becomes politics wrapped in elegance, and you realize that entertainment inside these walls is never without deeper meaning. But the castle is not only alive with feasting and dance. There are games, too, that speak to both mind and strength. Indoors, lords and ladies bend over chessboards, their eyes sharp with concentration, as though every move is a reflection of their ability to lead in war and governance. Dice are thrown, laughter erupts, fortunes shift across tables, and the thrill of chance mixes with the smell of spiced wine. For those seeking larger displays, the castle ground hosts archery contests, wrestling matches, and falconry exhibitions. These entertainments are not just diversions, but tests of skill, each one a reminder of the noble virtues of precision, courage, and mastery over both body and beast. Jesters add another layer to this world of amusement. Dressed in motley clothes, they leap, tumble, and crack jokes that ripple through the hall. Yet their role is more dangerous than it seems. Behind the painted face and foolish grin lies a license no one else in the castle possesses: the ability to mock, criticize, and speak truths disguised as humor. A well-placed jest could highlight a lord's flaw without sparking outrage, and a witty remark could shift the mood of a tense banquet. Jesters often knew the moods of kings better than ministers did, and while they entertained, they also advised, slipping wisdom through laughter. In their jokes lay hidden power, and the wisest kings listened carefully to the fools who danced at their tables. Theater brought yet another kind of spectacle. Traveling troops arrived at castles to perform religious plays or morality tales, reminding everyone of sin, virtue, and the dangers of pride. But not all theater was solemn. Comic skits and puppet shows delighted both nobles and servants alike, offering relief from the stern discipline of court life. Stories were told through rhyme, song, and exaggerated gestures, carrying lessons for peasants and nobles in equal measure. At times, these performances were filled with satire, hinting at corruption or foolishness in high places, though cleverly veiled so as not to anger the wrong patron. Not all entertainment was loud and public. Some of the most intimate diversions happened quietly in corners of the hall. A poet might whisper verses to a lady, weaving themes of love and longing into carefully chosen words. Courtly love itself became a game, a form of entertainment where knights devoted themselves to ladies with chivalrous gestures and songs. Though often symbolic, these displays of affection could influence politics, sparking jealousy, admiration, or even rivalry. Romance, whether real or stage, was another layer of the spectacle that surrounded castle life, a performance as important as the feasts or the tournaments. Festivals brought the greatest spectacles of all. At Christmas, halls were draped with greenery, tables overflowed with food, and music resounded through the night. Nobles exchanged gifts, minstrels composed special songs, and the castle glowed with light and warmth in the depths of winter. During harvest festivals, the energy shifted outdoors, with bonfires crackling under the open sky and dancing that lasted until dawn. On certain occasions, masquerades transformed the rigid hierarchy of court. For one night, masks allowed lords and servants alike to mingle without titles, whispering secrets and indulging in freedoms normally denied. Entertainment became liberation, if only for a fleeting moment. Before dawn returned everyone to their roles. Hunting, too, was a form of amusement, though it carried a different weight. Noblemen and women rode out into forests with trained hawks, dogs, and weapons, chasing deer, boars, or foxes. This was more than leisure. It was a ritual of dominance, a way to prove bravery, skill, and control over nature. The hunt ended not just with game brought back to the castle, but with stories told by the fire, each tale larger than the last, each victory remembered in the retelling. The entertainment of the chase blended seamlessly with the pride of the feast that followed. The animals served as a reminder of the lord's strength. But while nobles reveled in such luxury, not everyone in the castle shared the same kind of joy. For the peasants, entertainment was simpler: folk dances, drinking in taverns, or telling stories around the fire. Compared to the grand spectacles of nobles, their diversions were humble. Yet even they mattered, for laughter and music were needed by all classes. In truth, the castle entertainment often existed to highlight this divide, reminding everyone who held power and who lived under it. While peasants celebrated with wooden mugs and songs, the nobles raised silver goblets and listened to harps. The contrast was as deliberate as it was striking. And yet, through all of this, you as a eunuch watched quietly, sometimes standing against the wall as Lord's feast, sometimes carrying messages as dancers twirl past. You may not join the games or flirtations, but you see everything. You notice who drinks too much, who glances at whom, who whispers behind the king's back. Entertainment in the castle becomes not just spectacle to you, but a map of power, where laughter reveals alliances and dances conceal rivalries. To the nobles, it is joy. To you, it is another kind of knowledge, a different battlefield fought with music and merriment instead of swords. Every laugh that echoes in the hall, every cheer to joust, every gasp of performance carries meaning beyond the surface. These entertainments bind kingdoms together, impress foreign dignitaries, and remind subjects of their lord's greatness. They are tools of authority wrapped in silk and song. Yet for those who lived them, they were also a moment of escape, brief interludes from the duties of war and politics. And so, as the fire dies down and the last notes of the lute fade, the castle falls silent again. Stone walls return to their cold stillness, the echoes of laughter lingering only in memory. The feasts and dances, the jesters and tournaments, were more than pastimes. They were displays of power, glimpses of humanity, and echoes of a world where entertainment was as vital as battle. For you, standing in the shadows, the spectacle was always double-edged, both a reminder of what you had lost and a lesson in how joy itself could be wielded like a weapon. And as history reminds us, the games played in castles were never just for fun. They were the stage upon which kingdoms rose, alliances were sealed, and legacies were forged.